But when you were working on your first album with Motown, is there different pressure? I mean, you're on Motown. You've had the legacy of the Temptations, the Beatles, the Supremes. You've had the Barge. Um, um, Motown was going through changes. Since the DeBarge, there was probably not many people. I mean, when Gerald came in, he got Boys to Men and yourself. But what was it like for you coming onto Motown? They still had the Stevie Wonder and everyone around.
It was exciting for me because Gerald Busby was the president. And Gerald was so behind me and he was so excited to have me on his label. So I really with Gerald, I felt the love from Gerald. So I didn't feel like any kind of pressure or it just felt great. It was just all good. And like I said, I wasn't thinking about what everybody else was doing. And musically, I just was just focused on what I had to do. And Gerald made it a great experience. And I knew that he was behind it. Once you have the head of the label behind you, it's actually a really good thing. So I had Gerald's blessings and I had him behind me. And he really, when I tell you, I Love Your Smile, when he put that record out, I did not want I Love Your Smile to be the first single.
Wow.
No. I told you, Silent Prayer, it should be the first single because we were in the middle of a war, the Persian Gulf War.
Yeah, Desert Storm, yeah.
Prayer. I said, this is a perfect time. Johnny Gill's on the song. This is the perfect first single. And Gerald Busby told me, no, I'm not changing it. It's I Love Your Smile. And I remember crying.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, Gerald, it's the wrong song. And he didn't listen, of course. And he put that record out, pushed it. And it was number one in so many countries. So I got to travel the world. I was nominated for a Grammy. And I was so wrong. I was so wrong about that song.
Yeah, when I interviewed Marvin Riley from Ready for the World, he says when Gerald left MCA to go to Motown, it affected their career. That's how Gerald, when he works on an album, he pushes it to, and they felt the effect of when he left MCA. But then you think about it, and it must have been something he did when you wrote I Love Your Smile. Did you know how infectious and how powerful it was, or did you just think, okay, this is one of many? Silent Prayer is a better song.
I really didn't know. I knew when we were writing it, I knew we wanted something catchy that people could sing along, but I didn't know that. Like I said, I didn't even think that was going to be the first single. I thought it was just going to be on the album. I was not thinking this is the big one. This is the first single. So no, I did not know when we were writing.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, that song traveled over to Nigeria, and I was still in high school, and we didn't get American DJs and stuff, so for it to come on our radio, this evening I was having dinner with the family, my kids and my wife, and I said, oh, do you know this song? And I played the song. My 9-year-old daughter said, oh yeah, I know that song. My 11-year-old son, this evening, said they know it. The most surprising was my wife, who doesn't listen to music at all, said, oh yeah, I remember that song growing up in Nigeria.
Oh, yay.
and that tells me when a song is that powerful, that generations are hearing it and still remember and say, yeah, we know that song. I mean, that's a powerful thing, to be able to write and perform a song that 30 years later, new people are discovering it. And it's not just our generation who were there when it came out, but it's, as I said, a younger generation. How does that feel, having that type of an impact on a song?
It's just mind blowing. Like I said, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. So, and it's funny because even though it's been around for a long time, I could be in my car and the song come on the radio, and I still get that feeling that I got the first time on the radio. It's I never take it for granted. I still get excited. I still get excited when I hear it, and I'm in the fact that Chris Brown brought it, he introduced it to a whole other generation.
Yeah,
I'm just blown away.
Now the single is, number one across the world. Then, was this your first time then touring? Because I don't know if you did any touring when you were on A&M.
When I was on A&M, I toured. So I
Okay.
did 14 when my first album came out.
Oh, goodness. 14.
I toured and I did a lot of shows in the first album. And so, but and I went overseas. Yeah, when I was on A&M Records, they would send me overseas, like to Europe and Japan and
Wow.
different. Now the sad thing is, I didn't get a chance to do a lot of touring in Africa. And I used to always say, how come I'm going to all these countries and I haven't been to Africa? I finally got to visit Johannesburg.
Okay, South Africa. Okay.
It was years ago, and it was at a festival. But that was my first time, like maybe
Wow.
about 10 years ago,
Wow.
So it took this long for the labels to send me to Africa. And when I went there, I was blown away because everybody knew my music. And I'm like, they know it in Africa.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a global appreciation for good music, and as I said, there's a massive appreciation. I know, as I said, I went to college in the US and lived there for 10 years, and I know that it's quite easy to, okay, we've heard this, let's hear something new and stuff. But when you come out, we don't get R&B as much, and so we appreciate the old stuff or new stuff. And we just appreciate artists. So that's probably why, as I said, my wife, I'm still surprised she knows the song. But yeah. But then when the song is so big, how does it feel for you knowing that everyone knows you? Biggest artist in the country at the time. What is it like personally?
It's exciting. I don't know. It's just a great feeling. It's a feeling that I can't even describe, but I'm very just thankful. And that's why I get on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and I'm just constantly telling everybody how much I appreciate everyone, because everyone has been so supportive. I've been in the business over 30 years, and everybody has been very supportive of me. So it's just a great feeling. I can't even describe it. I feel great.
So after the big album, which was great, then when it comes to going back, 21 Ways, what was 21? What was it then? How hard is it?
The thing is, this is the thing. I still think Silent Prayer should have been a second single. So they went from I Love Your Smile they went from smiling to crying. So my second thought, I'm crying. I didn't think it was consistent with the first. So Silent Prayer, I think they went wrong on the second single. I love I'm Crying, but I think they should have released that later. It should have been Silent Prayer with Johnny Gill. That should have been second. Then when I did 21 Ways to Grow, the thing is, they said that I Love Your Smile was too pop, and that I need to do something more urban, because of my Black fans. They said, you're a Black artist, you need to do stuff that's more urban. So they purposely, when we did the 21 album, had me doing more urban songs. And I know the 21 album didn't do what I Love Your Smile did. So I feel like first of all, I Love Your Smile was number one on the urban chart. It was number one in America on the R&B chart. Yeah. So I don't understand. Like, I had Black fans and white fans from I Love Your Smile, but that's where they went wrong. Now that's.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we, as fans, we assume it's the artist that says, that this is the direction we want to go.
They said, no, it's you're by you being a Black artist, you can't do a bunch of pop music. And I remember when Whitney did a pop song, and everyone was like, remember it was at the Soul Train Awards or something, and I think she got booed or something at the Soul Train. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So, but it's not like that now. Like, I think everybody's kind of like, you have I don't think labels are looking at it like they did back then. Like, you can do pop music and be.
Yeah,
I think I hate that it's that there's a label. Like I feel like music is music. Like I hate that it's like pop, R&B, this, that. Like I think you should just focus on doing great music and not have such a label on everything.
I mean, 91, 92, we had Mariah Carey singing, you know, I won't call it pop, but she was singing more crossover music. Whitney was singing more crossover music. Boys to Men, their second album was very crossover.
They're like the biggest in the world.
And those became the biggest artists. And I remember, and I don't know if you remember the group Rift. They sang "My Heart Is Failing," and they were in "Lean on Me."
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So their first album, it was very sort of popish, and they were touring with Vanilla Ice. But then Nitty Green said, you know, we saw Jodeci and we thought, oh no, we want to go urban. And unfortunately, album sales dropped because the R&B fans were saying, well, you know, we're not like Jodeci, and they lost their pop fans, and you know,
yeah, that's where they messed up with that.
Yeah. So I mean, so from yourself, did you, when the label was saying, okay, we want you to do a lot bit more R&B, who were they looking at Mary J. Blige and thinking, yep, we want you to be like that, or who were they looking at thinking that this is why we want you to do that?
Yeah, they didn't tell me like we want you like Mary, or they didn't give me like a name of an artist. They just said that we're losing our Black fans, and I'm like, how are we losing our Black fans? Number one R&B. I was just so confused. But when it's the head of the label, when they're behind it, you know, it's like I got to do what I'm, you know, told in a sense.
And so so when they're talking about doing more urban, who are they enlisting to do production for you compared to, was Michael still, was he still allowed to work with you?
Work on that album, but there was a song I did with Daryl Simmons. It was called Don't Break My Heart. Now that right there, I love to this day. I get in my car and I still listen to that song. And then I had, Turn Down the Lights was on there, right? Turn Down the Lights, I think, was on my 21 Way. So there were some songs on there that I think the first single was probably the wrong single. But I had Turn Down the Lights. And I had a song called Don't Break My Heart by Daryl Simmons. So I had some good ones on there that worked for, you know, from, it wasn't too far from I Love Your Smile and that Inner Child album, but they didn't really push it, you know.
Yeah. Daryl Simmons, from people who might not know, he's you know, works alongside Babyface. Babyface says he's his best friend. So it's a very similar style.
So many, I mean, they did, I think, End of the Road by Boyz II Men, to a lot of the big Babyface songs, Daryl Simmons.
Yeah, Daryl, so Daryl is Babyface does give him credit a lot.
Yeah.
So when the album doesn't do as well, what happens to Shanice when, okay, oh goodness, I've gone from being one of the biggest stars in the country to now my album is not really making it on the radio and the charts. What happened?
Well, you know, I did Broadway. I was Eponine I was the first African American to play Eponine in Les Miserables, which was a huge thing for me. So I did theater, and
but were you still at Motown, or did you part company?
I was actually in the process of leaving Motown at that time. Because Gerald left Motown. That's what it was. Gerald left Motown. Like I said, he was the head and the head of the company that signed me. He's leaving.
Oh, Andre Harrell comes in. And
then Andre Harrell came in.
Oh,
yeah. And so I left Motown. I ended up doing Broadway. And then I remember Babyface called me in to sing on Usher's a record called Bedtime. And I did some backgrounds on it, and I sang on the bridge. And I think that's when it clicked for Babyface. Why don't you sign to LaFace? But I must say this, and a lot of people don't know this. I literally signed to Clive, to Arista first.
Oh.
I was on Arista, and then Clive felt like he had too many female artists, and he asked me would I mind being signed to LaFace. And I was like, yes, I love LA Babyface. So he ended up putting me on
Oh.
and then
Oh.
Babyface. I think I did the thing with Usher. I think that's when he's like he talked to LA, and I ended up signing to LaFace.
Yeah. But if we go to Broadway, like the Miz is massive here in Europe and stuff, but how did that opportunity come to go on to do theater?
Well, first of all, I started in theater when I was a little girl. When I first moved to California, Kim Fields, you know Kim Fields,
Kim Trudy, yeah.
her mom Chip Fields she used to do like stage plays and musicals, and she taught me how to act. I went to this school on the weekends. My mom would drop me off on the weekends, and I would take acting class, singing class, dance class, like all these different classes. And Kim's mom was the head of the acting department.
Wow.
So she did a play, and I got to perform on stage when I was 8 years old with Kim Fields, Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Wow.
Lisa Randall was in there. My friend Sean Earl, he did Broadway as well. He was in a Rent on Broadway. But so I started out theater. When I did, Richard J. Alexander told me that in the middle of the night or something, my video came on, I Love Your Smile. And Richard J. Alexander was the producer for Les Mis on Broadway.
Wow.
And that I want Shanice to play Eponine. So he reached out to my management, reached out to us. And at the time when he first reached out, I was touring. I didn't have the time to move to New York and to do the show. So I was like, okay, I'll do it, but this isn't the right time. And then I reached out to him again and I said, okay, I'm ready now, because, things had kind of slowed down. It was so hard when I'm traveling the world, trying to promote my record and this and that.
Yeah.
So then I finally did it. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
It was a different kind of singing, because it was almost somewhat like an opera.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to really work on how I pronounced my words. I had to sing totally different than like my R&B pop music. It was totally different, but it was challenging, but it was worth it, and it was a lot of fun.
What does theater do to you as an artist? I've spoken to Tony Terry, and he talked about how theater, I mean, even when he talks, he's almost acting as he's talking. But what did it do for you as an artist?
You know what? As an artist, when you do theater, first of all, you have one chance to get it right.
Mm.
So if anything goes wrong, you have to, be quick, and you have to keep it moving. And I remember there was a time when I did Les Mis, there's this like big gate that they have out on the stage. And a lot of my blocking and everything was around the gate. It was supposed to be around this particular gate. But right before I went on to sing, the gate broke, and they couldn't get the gate out on the stage.
Wow.
Run out there and just like improvise, So that's the one thing that theater has taught me, how to like keep it moving when you're singing live on stage, and not panic.
Yeah. And I don't know, did you feel that at the time it was a step down, being a very successful recording artist, and now having to do the theater, because the label wasn't supportive with the second album, or how?
Theater is huge. Like, there's a lot of people who work their whole lives to be on Broadway. Like, just to say you've done Broadway, that's like,
yeah.
I had to see my name in lights, and my picture in the front of the building with my name in lights. And no, it was actually, I didn't feel like it was a step down. I felt like it was like an honor, and to be the first African to play Eponine on Broadway in Les Mis was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, a lot might not be said about how that is, how groundbreaking that is, because right now, if we look in Hollywood, with the rise of Black Lives Matter, any even westerns and period dramas are having multicultural actors, so they're not even they're breaking the mode now. So for it to
Right.
happen back, in the in the 90s with yourself, I mean that was groundbreaking, because as it now, it wouldn't be a big deal because, as I said, that they'll get, I think Denzel
But
has played Macbeth, people are not even thinking about it anymore. But
yeah, that was a big deal. And now, I mean, you have a lot of like big celebrities and singers and actors like wanting to do Broadway. Like that's yeah. So I never thought it was a step down at all. Never. Yeah.
soul food and
Right. But I sang on the Boomerang soundtrack before I officially signed to the Face. But I got to sing the Boomerang.
yeah, I did, yeah, I mean, I do remember that, but you're on the face. Then what's the difference being on a smaller label like LaFace compared to, A&M and then Motown? Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.